Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post this stuff up to Facebook and other social media. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. They have 40,000 therapists working for them. I've gotten fantastic feedback from people using them. So thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, so today's question was, I'm interested in writing a book on this topic. Do you have any good tips on writing while processing and while trying to be easy on ourselves? So first and foremost, self-care like a boss. Self-care like a boss. So when we are writing about our own experiences or, basing things off of our own experiences, we're processing, we're, remembering, we're doing all of that stuff. So it's really important to do self-care. It's also really important to not be hard on yourselves. So when I write, I usually set aside an hour a day and I write for that hour, and it could be crap. I mean, seriously, I can't tell you the number of times I would write and then I'd go back and I'd look at it and I'd be like, yeah, we're going to edit this, and just go back through and edit. So basically, you want to encourage yourself or give yourself the opportunity to do this an hour a day. Set aside the time. This is kind of part of, if you're writing about your experience, this is kind of self-care. This is also processing. This is also working on yourself. It's a really good idea to have sounding boards that you can talk to, either your own therapist or family that's trusted or friends that are trusted. And really just not being hard on yourself and making sure that you're attending to your mental health needs. Sometimes you're going to have to take a break. Sometimes you're going to be like, okay, this is too much. I need to set this aside for a week or two. Well, then set it aside for a week or two, but revisit it at the end of that week or two. Don't just set it off to the side and never touch it again. You don't want to do that. So, basically it's have a lot of water, have a nice big jug of water sitting nearby that you can, sip on while you're working. Make sure you take breaks and get up and walk around. Make sure that you are, where's your thinking? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How are you doing? Check in with yourself kind of thing. I often find writing is very, very, very cathartic. It's really not so much triggering. So when I did my first book, which is hiding over there, hold please while I grab it. Oh my goodness. When I wrote this one, What's Wrong with Your Dad, available on Amazon. I didn't find it that triggering. It was very actually cathartic, and it was very helpful to kind of put things into a timeline and write it all out and kind of see the connections and understand how I got from point A to point, X, Y, and Z, So I think the best tip would be setting aside time every day to write, setting aside time to do self-care. Like, really check in with yourself. Do you need a break? Do you need to go for a walk? Are you exercising? Are you eating properly? Are you eating healthfully? Are you socializing? Are you getting out and socializing? Are you taking care of you? So really, with anything, make sure that there's self-care going on. Make sure you have a quiet space. Oh, that's another thing. I don't like writing and getting interrupted because I'll lose my train of thought. So, either you shut the door and put a little sign that says, do not disturb unless somebody's on the ground bleeding, that kind of thing. Or you let everybody know, it's like, look, I'm going to go lock myself in the room. I'm going to be writing for about an hour. After an hour, then I'm totally available. So that I think is really important because I hate it when I get going into something and I'm in a groove and then somebody knocks on the door or the phone rings or, and it's a salesman. I hate spam. I hate it so much. So yeah, you want to basically put your phone on vibrate, and if you don't recognize the answer or the number, don't answer, that kind of thing. And give yourself a nice quiet or whatever you do best in. Some people do best writing when there's music going on. I like to have music sometimes in the background. So you make the environment as comfortable as possible. You make it as quiet as possible if that's what you need, and uninterrupted as possible. Set aside an hour a day. Do as much as you can. Edit, go back and edit every once in a while. It's like write for a whole week and then go back and edit it, and sometimes you'll be like, nope, I like this the way it is, and other times you'll be like, oh yeah, we need to change this around a little bit. But really, self-care, I think, is the key, because if you are still healing, and if you're still working on yourself and you're processing, yes, this is going to bring some stuff up. It can either be cathartic, like it was for me, or it can be triggering. Now, I know some people have written out their stories and they've said, wow, I didn't realize that this was going to trigger me, but it did. So yeah, when we're going back through and we're, sharing our stuff, I'm sure that inner critic's going to pop up and be like, oh my gosh, you can't tell anybody, blah, 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 blah. So you're going to have to be aware of the inner critic. You're going to have to be aware of, what are you telling yourself? Are you giving yourself permission? Are you making yourself wrong? If you are, tell that inner critic to go pound sand, that kind of thing. And really encourage yourself. It's like you have a right to tell your story. You do. And I think when I wrote my books, my first one especially, the What's Wrong with Your Dad, I was perfectly prepared for it to never be read. I really was. And I was perfectly comfortable with it being never read, because I knew how to deal with failure. I did not know how to deal with success. And that scared the living crap out of me. And I realized that, and I recognized that. I also recognized there was a little bit of sabotage going on. Oh, well, we can, we'll take another week off. We don't need to finish this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. So, really pay attention to, are you comfortable with the attention that you may get from writing your book? That is something to consider. Are you comfortable with success? Are you okay with failure? Are you, it's like you've really got to be mindful, I think, while you are writing books on your personal experience, or writing books on narcissism, or writing books on whatever. And it's a good idea to have a therapist. I cannot stress that enough. It's a good idea to have a therapist, to be like, oh my god, I'm terrified of success, what the hell, and then kind of process that through. So yeah. So, congratulations. I think that's really exciting. I encourage everyone, if they are so inclined, to write their story, because you never know who's going to read that and it's going to touch them in a way that heals them. Seriously. Because the biggest thing that all of us feel, I think, when we've been through narcissistic abuse is that we feel alone. We feel crazy and we feel alone, and we feel that no one has gone through this, and oh my goodness. And and it's so comforting to read somebody else's story and be able to go, oh my gosh, I went through that. Oh my gosh, this is like my, dad. Oh my gosh, this is, wow, I'm not alone. So I think that's hugely important. I think it's hugely important to get your story out there. It's hugely important to also not just tell all the horrible things that happened, but I think it's also important to tell about your journey of healing. How did you get out of being a target of a narcissist? How did you get out of being somebody's narcissistic supply? So I think it's hugely important to also provide a roadmap. And, again, in my book, mine was like, go to therapy. Just go to therapy, journal, mirror work, all of that fun stuff. So yeah. So good job. Congratulations. I'm interested to hear when it gets published. That's cool. So yeah, and don't be afraid. I think the biggest thing that stops us from writing, or from being creative, or from telling our story, is fear. And it's fear of backlash, and it's fear of, uh, flying monkeys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure there's some people out there that read my book and were just like, oh, but her dad was this wonderful person. You didn't live with him. You did not live with him. So you can just believe that. Have fun with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like there's going to be weird stuff that happens. So, and consult with an attorney. I changed all of the names in my book because I did not want to be sued. So I changed all of the names, and I got permission from a lot of family members, sisters, and my mom. So yeah, so just, enjoy, have fun, enjoy it. It's a it's a great way to reflect from how far you've come. Look where you started, look where you are now. Wow, that kind of thing. It's also great to challenge yourself to confront mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs, such as, oh my gosh, I'm not okay with success. That was mine, and I don't know what's going to pop up for you, but, challenge it. Challenge it. Don't let the fear win. Fear is just a thought. Danger is real. Putting your hand on a hot stove will hurt you. Imagining putting your hand on a hot stove will not. So don't let the fear stop you. I think that's the big thing. And just enjoy the process. All right, my loves. I will talk to you guys on Sunday. Excuse me. We'll be talking about OCD, ADD, ADHD, executive dysfunction, and neurodivergent. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.